Hello, boys and girls. What are you doing going home while the sun is still out? I know! I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh, my hair's messed up. Been a wet, rainy day. Went to the Cheesecake Factory for lunch. Not a huge fan. What are you gonna do? So I got off the phone. I got a phone call from Dave Timmons. Something like that. I called the Aberdeen Police Department because they've had a lot of interactions with Blind Justice, and I figured I'd give them a whirl, see what they knew. And they didn't really know much. I mean, Dave Timmons seems like a really nice guy. He did admit that they treat Blind Justice differently. Initially, Mr. Timmons said that he's a vet. Mr. Timmons is a vet, and he respects vets, and he wants to make sure they're treated right and fair and all that other fun stuff. And I said, well, does his blindness have anything to do with it? And yeah, he probably does treat him a little different because of his blindness. And Mr. Timmons was aware that Blind Justice isn't completely blind, and he expressed his doubts as to exactly how blind Mr. Blind Justice is, due to them seeing Blind Justice maneuver through the parking lot, avoiding vehicles without using his cane, etc., etc. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any reason to not believe that Blind Justice is at least legally blind. I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that he plays up his blindness more than... Because, I mean, he's pretty good at pointing his camera at the things he wants to record. So some other things. Blind Justice has not been arrested, at least not by the Aberdeen, Washington Police Department. So it seems like they show quite a bit of restraint for him. They did not arrest him for violating the ordinance about resting on the street because he was protesting. He was exercising his First Amendment rights, and protesting is not loitering. And so they understood it, and Mr. Timmons said he actually came out pretty much every day and chatted with Mr. I keep wanting to use his name, but he'd chat with Blind Justice, and he even brought him coffee. I mean, sounds like a tyrant to me. I tell you what. Nobody brings me coffee. Sons of guns. The person who goes with Blind Justice to record him is April Obie. Aberdeen Police Department have not confirmed Blind Justice's visual status. Excuse me. Whether or not he's actually blind. They've never asked for his ID. They've never run his driver's license or anything like that. Excuse me. What else? They've also never verified his military record. They don't know if he actually is a veteran. Mr. Timmons just took him at face value. Mr. Timmons is familiar with sovereign citizens, and he's also familiar with that other group, First Amendment activists, auditors, something, advocates. And he's watched some of their videos, and he believes that that's the group that Blind Justice rolls with. But no, it's that's another thing he talked about. He told me about an incident where they received a call. Neighbors called saying that someone broke into Blind Justice's basement. Police arrived and they found a known criminal by the house. The basement door was open. They entered the house. They called several times. Aberdeen Police Department, Aberdeen Police Department, is anybody home? Suspecting that there may be someone inside still, they entered. They got to the bottom of the stairs, and at the top of the stairs, they found Blind Justice's 2 children, young children, like 11 and, I forget what he said, there's something like 11 and 9, at the top of the stairs, filming, recording. So their officers thought it was a setup, because why didn't they respond? So they entered, they went upstairs just to make sure everything was fine, because the kids weren't responding. And they found Blind Justice asleep on the couch, and then Blind Justice basically kicked him out. And apparently Blind Justice, probably through the goodness of his heart, I will give him noble reasons for what he did. He took this known criminal home from a homeless shelter and allowed him to stay at his house, which I'm sure he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. And I'm not being sarcastic about that. I mean, if anybody allows a homeless person to stay in their home, I wouldn't. I'm not that generous. It takes a generous person. So there you go. So the Aberdeen PD, they thought it was kind of a setup. They were very, I mean, they were doing their job. They were doing their due diligence, as Fat Label likes to say, to try to make sure that there was no danger in the house. That, you know, you see 2 kids filming on the stairs and you're like, they're not responding to us, what's going on? Maybe there's like a gunman upstairs with like holding their dad hostage or whatever. They didn't know it was Blind Justice's house, at least according to the police. So all of this is according to the police. This is all secondhand information. Mr. Timmons was not negative towards Blind Justice at all. He thinks that Blind Justice is a reasonably intelligent person. He didn't modify with reasonably. He said he's an intelligent guy. My experience hasn't been that, but that's me who threw the reasonably in there. The other thing that he said was that Mr. Timmons believes, and he's had a lot of interactions with Blind Justice, but he believes that Blind Justice is actually doing these things because he's a believer. So Mr. Timmons doesn't think that Blind Justice is doing it to personally profit, but because he's a believer. So that's the report I got, and then he gave me a couple other numbers to follow up on of people who might know more. And I may call him. I think I'm going to wait for the DD-214 to come in, though. Someone has already FOIA requested the DD-214, so we're just waiting on that. The other fun thing is apparently Satan isn't a big fan of mine. Who knew? The big reveal from the law offices of Daddy and Master is that Beelzebub himself thinks that Chauncey, the Prince of Lies, said that Chauncey has a bigger dick than I do. I'll let you do with that what you will. Anyways, it's pretty pathetic if the best thing you got is seances to discredit me. I mean, you got to give the guy props for his creativity, I guess. I'm doing a FOIA request on Beelzebub. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.